Hi everyone, wish you happy moments. In this lesson, I'll talk about adjective clauses. In fact, I tell you the simple adjective. I tell you what simple adjectives are. I tell you what adjective clauses are. I tell you the difference between simple adjectives and adjective clauses. I tell you ways to make adjective clauses, and I will introduce some relative pronouns like who and which. And I will also tell you how to how to join sentences and make adjective clauses. Okay, stay with me, stay tuned, and I hope you'll find the lesson useful. Let's start. Simple adjectives. When in English, when we want to use an adjective to report a noun, we basically put the adjective before the noun, like this one, kind people. So this is the place of the adjective, kind people. Smartphones. The adjective comes before the noun. This is for simple adjectives. However, for adjective clauses, the story is a bit different. The adjective clause comes after the noun. I like people who help each other. This who help each other is an adjective clause. It comes after the noun, people, and it gets back and introduces people. It gets back and reports people, talks about people. So this is basically the difference between simple adjectives and adjective clauses. For simple adjectives, we have the adjective before the noun. For adjective clauses, we have the adjective clause after the noun. Let's take a look at another example. The book, which I like, is very interesting. Which I like is an adjective clause. It gets back and talks about book. It reports book. Good. Here I have two simple sentences. I have a friend. He loves playing the guitar. In the essay of IELTS and TOEFL, if you want to get a better mark for your writing, you have to use compound and complex sentences. This one, here we have two simple sentences. You have to make it better. You have to improve it. The first step is like this. I have a friend, comma, and he loves playing the guitar. This is the first step. The second step is to use complex sentences. One of the ways to make complex sentences is to use these relative pronouns, who, which, that, whom, whose. So instead of saying I have a friend and he loves playing the guitar, we can say I have a friend who loves playing the guitar. By means of this who, which is a relative pronoun, we joined these two sentences. Now we have a better sentence. Good so far. Now let's take a look at the definition of adjective clauses. Adjective clauses usually begin with relative pronouns like that, which, that is for people and things, which for things, who for people, whom again talks about people, whose, which shows possession, where, why, and when. Adjective clauses describe or modify nouns. Well, I told you above that this adjective clause comes back and talks about this friend, this noun before that. They always contain a subject and a verb. Well, they have a subject and a verb. However, we have some exceptions. Here, for example, you can see that the book, which I like, I is the subject, like is the verb. Here, I like people who help each other. In this section, we have help, which is a verb, but our subject is who. Who here is subject, help is the verb. Here in this section, in this form, I is the subject, like is the verb. I have a friend who loves playing the guitar. Here, love is the verb, and who here is the subject. That is the difference. Now, we have more examples here, one or two for each relative pronoun. The woman who was driving must be the one to blame. We have the woman and we have who was driving. This who was driving is the adjective clause. It gets back and reports woman. It gives more information about the woman. Who is the relative pronoun, and who was driving is the adjective clause. Which woman? The woman who was driving. People who are smart follow the rules. Which people? People who are smart. Adjective clause, it gets back and talks about people, the noun before that. I spent 2 hours talking to Kim, whom I'd met only once before. This whom I'd met only once is the adjective clause, and it talks about Kim, the noun before it. That's the man whose house we painted. Whose house we painted is an adjective clause. It talks about the man. The people that live next door are having a party. The people that live next door, this one is an adjective clause. It gets back talk about people. The grapes that farmers produce in Italy is not cheap. That farmers produce in Italy is an adjective clause. It talks about the grapes. Which grapes? The grapes that farmers produce in Italy. Did you see the letter which came today? Which came today talks about the letter. Adjective clause. I like the car which you bought last year. Which you bought last year is an adjective clause. It comes back and reports car, talks about car, the noun before it. Good so far. Now, here I need to tell you that we also have relative adverbs, like when, which shows the time, where, which shows the place, and why, which shows the reason. But these relative adverbs can be used to create a relative clause by connecting the dependent clause to a noun in the sentence. Again, they come back and talk about the noun before them. So the clause again describes a noun. Now, today was the day when I was supposed to get married. Now, this one, when I was supposed to get married, comes back and talk about the day. I can remember the time when cell phones didn't exist. I can remember the time. Which time? When cell phones didn't exist. It comes and talk about the time. This is the place where I hit the key. Where I hit the key comes back and talks about the place. Just tell me the reason why you did this. Why you did this is a clause. It talks about this reason. So far we worked on why, where, when, and above we had which, that, whose, whom, and who. Good. Some of the examples have been taken from langgeek.co. So if you need further information, you can visit this website. We have two types of adjective clauses. Type 1 is essential adjective clause or restrictive adjective clause. Two names. Essential adjective clause, restrictive adjective clause. Now, what are they? Essential adjective clauses provide necessary information, needed information, and cannot be removed without changing the meaning of the sentence. They do not need any punctuation marks. Let's take a look at some examples. I have many dogs, for example, 5. The dog that I brought home from the forest was very beautiful. When you say I have many dogs, for example, 5, so you need to tell the listener which dog you mean, which dog you're talking about. Which dog? The dog that I brought home from the forest. This is called restrictive adjective clause. We are restricting the meaning. We are restricting the dog. So we need to have essential information, necessary information. We cannot remove this part. If you remove it, we might have a problem with the interpretation. Another example, do you know the client who came here with her little baby? They might have many clients, but they're talking about the client which came here with the baby. So they're talking about a specific client. This section is necessary. Another example, the book that I borrowed from the library is due next week. I have many books at home in my room, but I'm talking about one specific book. Which book? The book that I bought from the library. For example, not the book that I bought. The book that I bought from the library is due next week. So I have to return it next week. In this case here, this that I borrowed from the library is essential to identify which book we are talking about. That was type 1. Type 2 is non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. Well, the name is quite clear. It means keeping that adjective clause is not essential. Is not essential. And it does not restrict the meaning. Actually, they provide extra information, additional information, more data. The first example, the used car, comma, which my dad bought last week, comma, broke down yesterday. Well, this is the actual sentence. Let me remove it. The used car broke down yesterday. Okay, we're not talking about the new car. We're talking about the used car. So the meaning is quite clear. The used car broke down yesterday. Now this one only adds extra information. It provides additional information. The used car, okay, which my dad bought last week, broke down yesterday. I discussed it with my neighbor, comma, who is an experienced gardener. Here is the key sentence. I discussed it with my neighbor. This one here just adds more information. It does not change the core meaning of the sentence. I discussed it with my friend, with my neighbor. Okay. My sister, who is a doctor, will be visiting us next month. Again, here I have one comma here, one comma on the left, one comma on the right. My sister, this is the key sentence, will be visiting us next month. The core sentence and the core meaning is clear. This one, the bold format, only adds extra information. So it's quite clear by the use of punctuations to understand which one is essential and which one is not essential. The essential ones do not need punctuation marks, as I stated here. However, the non-essential or non-restrictive ones need punctuation marks, these commas. If they are in the middle of the sentence, they need 2 commas, one on the left, one on the right. And if they are at the end of the sentence, they need just 1 comma here. Good. Now here for the comprehension, I have some multiple choice tests and 2 sections. Let's work on the first section. Choose the correct adjective clause, essential or non-essential, based on the context. Number one, the car that was parked in the driveway was damaged in the storm. Which one do you think is true? Essential, the section, or non-essential? Take your time. You have some time. I hope your guess was true. This is essential. The car that was parked in the driveway was damaged in the storm. First of all, we have no punctuation marks here. And we can understand that there were several cars. Some of them were passing, some of them, or at least one of them was parked. Just one of them was damaged. Which one? The one which was parked in the driveway, not the ones which were passing. Not the ones which were passing. Okay, so this one is essential. Number two, I took my partner, who has never seen snow, on a ski trip. Which one do you think is true? Essential or not essential? The answer is non-essential. We have two commas here. That's in the middle of the sentence. I took my partner on a ski trip. This is the core sentence. Here, this one just provides extra information. Okay, that was a test for part one. For part two, we have this one, choosing the best options. Now, number three is I have to negotiate with my secretary, is aware of the meeting. Which one do you think is true? My secretary, which is, whose is, who is? Secretary is a person. The answer is who. Who is aware of the meeting? Good so far. This is the man who wrote the criticism. This is the man when. This is the man who. This is the man which. This is the man who wrote the criticism. We use who for people and we use which for things. And the last one here, my sister made a cake. Tastes delicious. Which tastes delicious? Who tastes delicious? Where tastes delicious? The answer is which. Which talks about things. Cake, things. Man, people, who. Secretary, person, who. Good so far. Good so far. Thank you. So we talked about simple adjectives here. We talked about adjective clauses. We talked about essential, and we talked about non-essential adjective clauses. Thank you.